episode 2 of MoonDee's Paranormal Odyssey. And we're back.
We're back.
Once again, hi, Psychic Chris Moon.
Psychic D. Garcia.
And we did our first episode. We learned some things that we liked, some things that we didn't like about the first time. So episode 2 is going to give us a chance to hopefully improve a little bit. We'll get better each time, hopefully. If we don't, then you're probably going to stop watching, and that would be bad. So we're just to let you know, we're gonna keep trying new things. Like, it's gonna be a lot brighter. We took the effect off the soundboard. We didn't realize it was so loud, so that's gone. So it should sound better. There was a filter that I tried using, and it got really weird. And I started accordioning, so it was really bad.
But don't point out all the bad stuff. The only thing to go back and watch. Aha, there it is.
Well, yeah, you can't go back.
What if they haven't noticed any of that?
It's like it's a blooper reel. It's a running blooper reel. It's fine.
I hate you.
No, but we figured that we'll just improve as we go. We're just making it very natural. And the thing that I really like so far about what we're doing is we're not scripting anything. And I know a lot of podcasts go into that, like, hey, let's script this and then we'll talk about this and you make it. No, we're just going to talk because
we have no notes for today.
No.
I don't even know he just said, hey, let's record another episode. I said, sure. I don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, I really probably don't either. But
I apologize in advance.
Don't apologize. It's going to be good. No matter what, it's going to be good. It's going to be all right.
It's going to be good. It'll be good.
So in this current moment that we're in time, we're going through this really bizarre... Well, there's a lot of bizarre things that could go on for hours about right now. Like literally. If I started back in about 2020, I could just list thousands and thousands of bizarre things that have happened. But...
Absolutely.
The latest that we're dealing with, and we're post the event. So I want to talk more about this. So one of the big things we've been running into is this UFO thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
There's all sorts of different names for it. It's still UFO to me. I'm old school. It's still a UFO, right?
It is.
Yeah, so...
Wait, is there a new term?
Yeah, EAP.
Oh, the UAP.
What is it? UAP?
I'm sorry. Okay, real quick, for those of you that speak Spanish, you're going to understand my confusion and why I just laughed. Because it's UAP, but I was going to say UPA, and in Spanish, you know what that stands for.
Oh, I have no idea. So, anyways, if you know, you know. So there's this whole new thing about the UFO thing. First, they're going to have disclosure. So we went through that trial couple of years ago.
Yes,
I think they
did.
We did. And it really went nowhere. They just kind of went in circles. Like, okay, we'll show you a couple of videos that we filmed, but, we still don't know what it is. So I was like, oh, great, thank you, I guess. Still don't know anything.
They tried.
So, and then they just had another big congressional hearing where they very quietly just oh, yeah, we've known about these things forever. And they're actually not in outer space, if there is outer space.
Yeah, they're in the ocean.
They're actually under the ocean. We've known they've been there this entire time. There's alien bases, and we've captured bodies. We have equipment. We're doing reverse.
You know what I said when they came out with that?
Huh?
I said, I don't believe you.
I don't believe you. Yeah, no, but for real, they said that. And the crazy thing, first thing I thought about, because I moved down here in late 2017, and everybody's told me, you've told me, Dave, there's been a bunch of people that are like, there's an underground or an underwater alien base.
Well, yeah, it's said. Yeah, it's good thing to talk about here where we're at. So in the Gulf of Mexico, it's been known for a while, or rumored, that if you read that'd be Fringe, right? Like the Fringe news or Fringe info or whatnot.
Yeah.
That very close by, like right off, like where we're located in the Gulf of Mexico, the coast of Texas, Brownsville, Texas, the South Padre, there is. Alien base or like a Stargate, and it's believed, I'm gonna knock on wood here, it's believed that that's why we've been able to survive the storm seasons, if you know what I'm saying. And
well, it's true, and I didn't realize this, but everybody's like, yeah, don't worry about it. Like, we had this year alone, we had a huge hurricane heading for us. And I mean, it was heading directly for us. Like, people were sending us prayers, and God help Brownsville, Texas.
And I was a little scared too, because it looked like it was coming this way.
It was coming. And then all of a sudden, I swear, I did one of these, whoop, and just started going, pew, went straight up through Houston. When it had, where it hit Galveston, really bad. and it went as far up. It went into Vermont. It flooded Vermont.
Oh yeah, that's the one.
It
One of the first ones that
Yeah, it put it underwater.
Barrel.
Yeah, barrel. It put it underwater. We're like, so
And I always bring it up, like jokingly, but also not jokingly, because growing up here, you hear that. I was like, it has to be the Stargate or and I don't want people don't come for me, that don't say it's not Trudy. I'm just letting you know what growing up here, which you always,
local legend
yeah,
states. That's what it. But I've heard it from not just. It's more than you all. I've heard it from people just in general. They're like, oh, I know why you're here. It's the. I'm like, oh, okay. I have no idea. But it is interesting that Elon decided of all the places in the country
that's
to
what we
bring
always say.
SpaceX, why here? And he never sweats. When those things are coming at us, he's like, I think it's the technology has to be sending in a different way. That's all I can think.
That's one of the things that we've always said. Like, he chose here. Why? There's a reason. There's a connection. Come on. He's got to know about it.
Something.
He's got to know about it.
But anyway, so yeah, so there's all this disclosure, and this is happening, that's happening.
And people are just walking around like, okay, that's great. Do I still have to go to work?
That's like literally the statement people are making now is like, okay, that's wonderful, but do I still have to pay my bills? What's going to happen here? How's this going to go? And
it's true.
You think about it, you're like, yeah, actually, you're right, man. I mean, what's the point of freaking out about it if you still have to live life as normal afterwards? Unless they're bringing some great revelation that's going to make our lives that much better. Please can make our lives so much better. But anyway, so we had this happen, and then like out of nowhere, huge sightings everywhere, right?
Oh,
If you're on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, any social media,
they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. People are feeling these are like mass sightings. You got entire neighborhoods. You got Air Force bases. You got all these places that are outside on their phones filming. These crazy lights, and one of which I was going to mention too, which is interesting. I just recently today saw one of something I saw in Colorado. Several 4th of July's like 10 years ago of these. They almost look like tadpoles in the air.
Oh yeah, I've seen those before.
Yeah, and I was like, somebody finally got a good picture of them. So it's definitely something, right? So we don't know exactly what it is, but people are like sitting in airports or in airplanes filming these things out the window. It's like, okay, they want to be seen, or somebody wants us to see them.
Yeah, there is a rise in these videos that have been coming out more so very very recently than before. I mean, they've always been around. The thing I always look at it from the standpoint of, I also know that AI has gotten fucking amazing. Like, excuse me, it's gotten like it's really difficult to and some of them you can't to detect, is it real, is it not real. So you also have to use discernment, because there's just so many of them. And some tips to look for, like when you're watching a video on TikTok and you're like, oh my god, look at this. One thing, I always click on the sound. If there's a lot of different videos using that one sound and it's people freaking out, oh, what is that? Oh my god! And everybody has a different, that's when you say, okay, this one might not be real. And just there's other ways to tell too. You look at the sound, see is there different videos with that one sound of the different people like freaking out of that. But there's some of them that you're like, okay, no, this is real. Like there's a few that I've seen that they haven't blown up, like they haven't even gone viral, and it felt and looked very legit to me. And then this creator had follow-ups to it, and they were also talking about how like they've been noticing the rise in sightings and the talks, amongst people and on different social media platforms, people talking about, seeing it. It's almost like these UFOs, like they want to be seen now. Well, the ones that are real,
That's my concern in all this. That's what it comes down to. It's like, because you have to start then figuring why. Is it like all of them get together and say, okay, we're going to let them know now, or we're going to go blow them up now, or whatever we're going to go do. But why start showing yourselves? So
many theories.
That's why it goes, to me, it's almost like, the Project Bluebeam idea is something that's been around for a long time. It got leaked. That's the problem that they had, is it got leaked. And it's a mass deception. It's a government deception. And it's basically put on these light shows in the air. And, like you said, AI's gotten so amazing. Drones have become incredible. Like, there's all these different things it could possibly be. just to make us think that there's this huge alien invasion and the world mysteriously has to come together to fight the powers that be. And it's a movie or a TV show. I mean, it's crazy at that point.
I mean, they've successfully uh, tricked people already once in history, thinking that there was an alien invasion when the radio show of War of the Worlds,
which I think was actually a psyop.
So do I. I've had that.
I don't think it was just a regular radio program because the American minds were so fragile at that point. They believed everything that was on the radio, right?
Just like now, they believe everything was on the internet.
TV,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So it's the same idea, fake news either way, whatever it is.
Look that up, guys. What happened with War? If you don't know about that,
guys, that is sadly incredible the way that it all happened. But yeah, same idea. What's going to happen if people start seeing these things flying through the air and there's fighter jets and explosions and all? I'm sure if they're going to go do it, it's going to be highly believable. It's going to be one of those, oh my God, I can't believe, enough where even those of us who are like, come on, are going to be like, oh, I did see that house blow up. I mean, my car is gone now. But I think it would be something where they would actually, they're expecting some sort of collateral damage in it to make it believable. You have to, right? You can't just say, all the fighting's going on in the air, nothing's happening. It's like, that doesn't work either. So that's the thing, because, I mean, this many sightings, and we've really, for what, about 2 years, it's been building and building.
It's been building. It's been building for a while now. But in the past 2 years for sure, very strongly. Past 5 years to now, I think it's been really picking up. A lot of interest, and don't get me wrong, for years and years and years, you've got so many different cases of UFO sightings and abductions, and you have the fire in the sky case.
Absolutely. I'm not doubting that there's something there, and I mean that's what it breaks down to. I think the government can fake a good show, but when it comes down to it, I know they
exist.
I 1,000% know there is something out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I had my abduction. I was abducted. I talked about it in my book. I talked about what happened.
That's right.
And that is absolutely 100% a real memory in my mind. And the interesting thing about that, we hadn't really, even when you read my book, in one day, you literally read my book like in one day. But when it came down, that's me. That's my book. My mom and I wrote that book. The chapter about that, we never really talked about it.
No.
That's the one that we never really touched on. It's almost like you're like, well, interesting, but we're just going to move right past that.
It's not that I believed you.
Well, I know you believe me, but you're almost like, I don't want to really delve into that portion of it. To the point that, for those of you who don't know, I've actually in my arms, and they're not as prevalent as they used to be, but in my arms right here and right here, exactly matching on both wrists, I have these two bumps, and I actually, they itched and they hurt. And I thought, man, I've got something's going on here. So I actually went to the doctor and to see if he could see what it was. And he cut my arm open. And when he started trying to use tweezers to go in and pull whatever it was out, it was shiny and it moved. And when it did it 2 times, he says, I want nothing to do with this. He walked away at that point.
It's chapter 6, by the way.
Chapter 6, yeah.
So you don't want to know what chapter he talks about.
So, and then, so I read about go read my book, guys. You can get the whole idea about what happened. But then I had that happen. So, Dee and I never really talked about it. And I'm just going to tell the story about what happened. So we were, the first college tour you and I did together, I believe. I think that's what it was. And we were traveling by car, and we stopped in St. Louis at Harrah's Casino in St. Louis to stay for the night. You remember that?
Was that when we had that experience?
Yeah, so...
Oh my God, yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
So
okay, listen to this.
Neither, again, had not had a conversation about it, never really broached it for whatever reason. We just didn't talk about it. But that night, I was laying in bed, and I woke up because I felt something like pulling or tugging or jostling with me, and I thought, get away, what? And I woke up, and I clearly remember these gray alien-looking creatures that were trying to pull me out of and trying to pull Dee out of the bed as well. And
I remember this too.
They smelled like formaldehyde.
Formaldehyde, yeah.
And I was fighting, and I think I fought them off. I think I was too awake or whatever, however that works. I don't know. I was too awake, and I think they gave up.
Because I started waking up too, but then I remember waking up, and then I remember just immediately going back to sleep.
But the thing was that was interesting.
And I thought I was dreaming.
Well, but the interesting thing about it is that we started talking about it.
In the
We were
morning.
driving away from the casino in the morning, and I said, "Oh, I'm exhausted." He said, "Why?" And I started talking about it, and when I got to the part, I said, "And the weirdest thing is that they smelled like," and she said, "formaldehyde."
We
And
said
we
it at the
both
same
looked at each
time.
other. I stopped the car.
And I said, "You weren't dreaming." I thought that was
Yeah.
my dream, but
We
it
thought
happened.
we thought we just were having separate dreams, but there was no way. And whatever these things were, so I believe that these little things in my arms are little like tracking devices of some sort that they keep track of me that way, or maybe they send message. I don't know how it works, but I do know because I've had several instances where I come back just exhausted, and I know I thought I slept, but I just feel like I got no rest whatsoever.
I really hope that that's not tracking devices. You gotta rethink my entire
Entire life.
life with him.
Yeah, maybe. Might have to.
Maybe not so much. Maybe
Maybe I gotta go.
maybe I leave now.
This is the podcast where she walks away.
And that was the last time.
And that was the last time I saw my sweet Dee. But yeah, no, so that we were talking about that, and that was a crazy thing. So they're real. I have no doubt. Now that begs the question: what the hell are they? Right?
Other life forms, other creatures, other beings, another species.
Is it interdimensional? Is it from outer space, which is a whole different topic we'll get into? Are they from the ocean? Are they demonic entities in suits? Are they? I mean, there's all these different theories that are out there. Maybe we haven't even touched on it. Maybe we don't even know.
I
Future
have,
humans.
I have a theory, and I've had this theory. I mean, I've watched so many shows on it, and shows that where they do real research and people study it and really go through the history and it's got to be ancient aliens. I love that show. So, but
I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
but I have a theory that I've thought about this, and it makes sense. And I think I've told you this before. You said you've had the same thought. That I've had the thought, like, what if it's us in the future coming back to try to prevent whatever it was that caused that, like the loss of the planet or Earth or ourselves. I don't know, something.
Right.
And they're just coming back to try. And that's what causes so many Mandela effects. Because us in the future come back to try to, like, intervene at certain points in time or help out at certain points in time. And so the timelines keep changing or keep, like, blending or, interacting, and that's what causes a lot of the Mandela effects. I remember thinking that, like, what if these aliens have been visiting, because they have been since ancient times, which is why you see in the hieroglyphs and the pyramids, and you see the little, I mean, they have found them in the pyramids in Egypt. They found these little drawings, carvings of what looks to be a UFO, people using laptops, all these things, and you're like, okay, it's got to be that.
But those don't. When you see that, it doesn't look like these little visitors that just pop in and pop out. It looks like they're living there.
Yeah, and
like
so,
they're existing alongside.
But some of them came down like oh gosh, the one author, Eric von Donigan, the one that wrote Chariots of the Gods, that book. See, I'm like, I could go on because I've read all. So Chariots of the Gods, like, he talks about that ancient civilizations all speak of these gods that they were visited, by, and they came down in the sky, and that's why it's called Chariots of the Gods. And when they describe them, they sound like a UFO type thing that they come down in. And so I think about this. This is like ancient civilizations that aren't. That they haven't been introduced to any modern technology, that, haven't been, they say civilized and things like that. And so when they see this, they don't have a way to describe it, because at the time they couldn't say, oh, it's a UFO. They didn't have that term. So they try to describe it best. Oh, it came down from the sky, wings of fire. I mean, when, what do the engines in the bottom look like? Things
Right.
like that. So I would always think, like, wait a minute, they've been visiting us, even back then, what if they just keep coming back and something that they come and do and try to, what if we're just an alien ant project?
That
You
would
know?
suck. That would be terrible. I mean, what would you live for at that point? Right?
Yeah,
You're
but you
living
know what
on
I'm
the
saying?
farm.
Like, there's just all these things.
But yeah, well, first off, though, I will say this: there's two things with the gods aspect of it. The gods, they never show them as these little gray creatures. They always show them as like, you know, the body of, you know, this gigantic guy with a horse head or
Yes,
and they say take it literally that those were actual, you know, beings that were here.
they existed alongside the
Which then
humans.
was that the Anunnaki experimenting, or I mean, there's all kinds of things you can get into here and talking about this stuff and the known lands and unknown lands. There's all kinds of things you can talk about, but um, you know, I guess that comes back to what we're talking about right now. So anyway, last night, long
See, that's
story.
what happens when we don't have a
Yeah,
script.
but no, but long story. Last night was supposed to be the night. This was
That's the point.
the software that predicted after Donald Trump and Joe Rogan met on a podcast. Which how did it do that? First off, that's
Yeah.
pretty incredible. I have to just say that was pretty amazing.
Well, see, but where'd you hear that? What was the source? Was it "Trust Me, bro"? Like, you know.
Well, no, they actually had it was sourced back then that it was, and they didn't say podcast. They said interview. That Joe Rogan interviewed Donald Trump, President Donald Trump. So that was interesting.
Mm.
I know, but it's just interesting.
Because
So,
if I wanted to, I could be like, "Oh, guess what? I have this thing that
well, no, I know, but they actually did have documentation. Of it.
Okay.
It wasn't just a thing.
I do believe you."
But supposedly 30 some days, 32 days or something later, it was supposed to be the war in the sky of the aliens and the government, and absolutely.
And what did I
nothing.
say when it was when everything was?
Yeah, no,
what
she
did I
said
say?
that, but I mean, I was like, I want to see, I want it to happen.
Every time, like the frequency that's gonna cause, I would tell them nothing's gonna happen. Like, because my guides and everything that I have, because I have a connection. You know, I meditate and I connect, and I'm like, give me a sign, give me a sign, and the sign I always get is it's not yet, not yet. And that one time with the frequency, I remember feeling like nothing's gonna happen. And then days before, when I mean, it was just like flooded. My For You page, I'm sure everybody else's was. My For You page on the Tiki Talkie was just flooded with like December 3rd. Get ready for a battle in the sky. It was gonna be Star Wars. It was gonna be. We were gonna see the Millennium Falcon. Just
I wanted to see it. I was like, I'm excited. I had popcorn ready. I was ready to go, and nothing.
and I mean, it would have been cool. It would have been
Yeah, I've
freaking
been
cool.
like, wow, this is. Thank you for the light show.
That would have been fantastic. And
My tax dollars. I would use my tax dollars for that.
I honestly was a little disappointed that we didn't get to see, that we didn't get to see it. But I remember just feeling, I knew that it wasn't going to happen. I remember hearing it and seeing all these videos and then stopping and thinking, wait, how does this feel? And then I remember thinking, no, it's not. I mean,
But then the question
and
comes
I'm
up.
not saying that they're not there. Yes, they're absolutely there. They've absolutely come back. They're watching. I do believe that. But what they were predicting was going to happen on the 3rd and at night. It's like, it's not on the 3rd, not at night. And I'm not saying that it won't happen. I'm just saying I didn't feel it.
How do you know that it didn't happen and we just jumped timelines right before it did?
That's possible too.
See,
See,
we don't know.
if the
Maybe our
multiverse is
house
real,
in Brownsville, Texas,
which I believe it
was
is.
the first casualty that happened in the Great War of the alien versus Biden. I don't know.
Oh my God! And our podcast is being done from, and this is the Paranormal Odyssey.
Yeah, see, we're on the Paranormal Odyssey, which could just be a constantly changing timeline, and maybe that's why we never get viewers, is because we can never quite grasp one timeline to get the viewers.
Now you've made it very sad reason. No, but I do believe in the multiverse. I do believe
too,
that there's
There's a lot going on all over the place.
There is.
There's another entire timeline just paper thin right here. We can't grasp. And sometimes we slip in and out of it.
Yeah, and that's where I know that we're talking about the Mandela effect too. That's how the Mandela effect takes place.
I can't say that. I don't know. I think CERN is a big cause of the Mandela effect. That's a whole different show.
Well, CERN is it's a big cause of
Mandela
that.
effect, CERN.
It's a big cause of why they're coming back. I think CERN has a lot to do with
why is Sheba out front? You know what it comes down to?
Oh my gosh, we're just jumping all over the place.
But we'll get to that. But this is okay. So homework or question for you guys in the comment section: what the hell do you think is going on? Give us your opinion. Give us the. I think it's the interdimensional thing. I think they are under the ocean. I think they've been here the whole time. I think they're people from the future. What do you guys think it is? Because we're theorizing here. We're theorizing. I was either fortunate or unfortunate enough to definitely have an experience with them, quote unquote. Um,
I know they're here.
yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, there is absolutely no doubt there is something.
They're definitely here, and
The
I.
big squid in the sky, the black
Oh yeah,
squid in the
that too.
sky.
That looks like the thing from
I
Harry
think that's
Potter.
CERN, though. I think
Yeah.
that's a CERN thing.
So I 100% believe that extraterrestrials are already among us, that they've been among us, and I 100% also believe. Call me crazy. You guys can
You're
believe what
crazy.
you want, but I I 100% believe that they're shapeshifters. I do.
That's a theory. I mean, because that again, another subject we'll get into is like Sasquatch, right? Because
Interdimensional.
you and
That's
I
what.
both agreed on that one that we both thought the same thing. Because how can it be number one the way that they can just camouflage like that,
Yeah.
like instantly, whoop, and they're like camouflaged, and then secondarily, when people go to actually chase them down, they just foot gone,
Yeah.
vanished. That's interdimensional kind of shit. So that's not anything normal. Um, but that's a whole different. Maybe they're aliens. We don't know. We don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I mean that's the main thing is we just wanted to talk a little bit about it. We wanted to kind of pose the question to our audience, all three of you, two of you, one of you. I don't know, however many of you out there. But we wanted to pose it to you guys and see what you thought. And what we'll probably do is start our next episode after we read some comments and things like that, or at least have a little segment in the next
Have a little
podcast.
segment because it was one of those things, and we didn't even really like talk about. I've done this, I've done that. You guys can go back and watch the previous episode 1. Um, but the reason why we're so interested in this because it's what we do, it's what we research. The paranormal and alien phenomena and UFO sightings. That's part of paranormal, the paranormal
Right.
phenomena and encounters and things like that. And so I it's just been it's always been a subject of interest for the both of us and for a lot of people that want to learn more about the paranormal and supernatural and extraterrestrial beings and all that. But lately it's been like just it's the number of experiences, sightings, viewings, um, captures has grown exponentially. I
Yeah,
think I could
and that
safely say that.
that's where the question comes in, and that's what we're asking you all. What do you think? We kind of laid out some different options, which I'm sure some of them you've already thought about, try, or whatever the case might be. But that's why we want to reach out to all of you and say, hey, give us your thoughts, and then what we'll do is we'll kind of do a read and react sort of thing.
Yeah.
Each episode, we'll kind of go back to the previous and say, hey, so and so wanted to know this, or so and so thinks that, and we'll read a little bit of the reaction to it.
Yeah, yeah, and one of the things that I would suggest, like Chris says, go back, give us your input. Like, what do you think it is? What are your theories? And if there's a certain case that you saw or a story you saw, bring it up. Let us know about it, and we'll
We'll
look
take a look.
into it and say, hey, this is what I think about this one. Because there's several that I've been seeing. Like the majority of the ones that I've been seeing coming out of Arizona, those look legit to me.
And again, probably next to Utah, the highest level of shapeshifter.
See?
So that you're looking at those two places for the number of sightings. So yeah, we got to figure it out. Skinwalker
Absolutely.
Ranch. There's all kinds of things we can get into, guys. It's just going to be an adventure each week, and we'll get into more as we go along and try to stay. We'll try to stay on task. I know that's kind of our issue.
I'm gonna be a teacher next time. I'm gonna have my points
I think
because
it's more fun without
we
doing
went
it.
all over the place.
Yeah, but that's the
Do you
fun
guys
thing.
like the disorganized show?
It's like we're having a conversation. And I hope that you're hanging out doing something in the car or whatever, and you're like, yeah, 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 I agree with that, or no, you're idiots, or whatever you want to say. But I just hope you all are like into the conversation and not just like from December 12th, 1942, they state that there was an alien sighting over the top of the Shenandoah Mountains, and there were three witnesses.
I think if you did that, I would fall asleep here.
I'd fall asleep too.
I
Again,
think,
and maybe what
yeah.
would happen. So,
And then I would still put that out.
yeah. Well, of course, we still have we got a quota, right? We got to get it out, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah. So, anyways, guys, we love you. We appreciate you tuning in to our second episode. Please.
Yes. Today was a little bit shorter.
Yeah. spread the word about what we're doing. If you guys are into it, if you're having fun with it, if you think it's interesting. If not, just don't tell anybody. Just be very quiet and don't say bad things. But if you really are, you're enjoying what's going on, tell a friend. Pass along the link. We're gonna try to keep it here on YouTube, on the Ghostbox Chronicles network, and we'll be releasing little clips on what like TikTok and
The tiki-taki.
Facebook.
Yeah.
We'll put things out there so people might go, "Hey, what's that crap?" and they might go look.
No, it's not crap. It's what's
No, I mean good crap. I'm not saying
what's
bad
that
crap.
phenomenal show
What's
that I see?
What is that Pulitzer Prize winning material out there? What exactly is that? Just like that.
No, yeah, you guys. Hope you all enjoyed the second one. Watch the first one if you haven't, and tell a friend. Love you all so much. Thanks for being here with us, and we'll see you next time. Smile, and remember to make someone else smile too. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel, youtube.com Ghostbox Chronicles.